let's build the Astral Tower from Bloodborne as a PC. Today we're doing our first official fully customized zombie tech gaming pre-build, and I build these computers in my garage because there's more space in here. Now granted, my garage is not the prettiest. I rent, I can't do much about it. You're gonna see my mobility aid collection, wheelchair, and all the boxes we used for moving. It certainly is what it is. I promise in our conclusion I'll haul the PC all the way upstairs to my room. More than likely I'll have my husband do that because that sounds really heavy. And I'll get my final conclusion in my pretty bedroom, so you guys can deal with my ugly garage for a little bit, right? And as I do more PC builds in this garage, I'm sure my garage will get more aesthetically pleasing, but we're gonna deal with pretty much bare walls, except for Frankenstein and Miss Bride here. Sorry. I know you guys saw the thumbnail. I know you saw the title. Before the internet hops on and calls me a poser, I have always been a PC girly at heart, so I have not had the opportunity to play many PlayStation games in my life. So Bloodborne is one of those games that I have looked at aesthetically and have been recommended over and over and over again because they think like out of the games I play it would match my vibe. Like genuinely, Bloodborne looks absolutely beautiful. In one of the coolest looking games ever. I just don't have a PlayStation, so I never ended up playing it growing up. And after releasing my Cathedral Y70 that absolutely blew up on Twitter, I got reached out to by my client Ali wanting an Astral Tower from Bloodborne inspired external piece for their Y70 touch. Now, since I've never played the Bloodborne game, I did a lot of due diligence into looking on Pinterest boards and the trailers for it on YouTube. Like I said, the art for Bloodborne looks absolutely insane. I am definitely inspired when I see it, and this is just like all the more making me want to find somebody who can help me emulate it on my PC so I can play it. Today we are building in yet another HYTE Y70 touch. I just feel like the HYTE Y70 cases also have such a good geometrics to build like architecture off of. So although I've never played Bloodborne, I am hugely inspired by the art style and graphics behind the game. Sorry for the abrupt end, let's keep it moving. As a YouTuber, you get a little tired of hearing your own voice, so I just end that clip there. Let's hop into the sketch portion and check out how cute my little backyard was before the atmospheric river hit and my entire backyard is mud now. But cute little fireplace and couch set some rich person was selling on Facebook Marketplace for like $100, so score on my end. Anyways, back to the main point of this video, the Astral Tower. Now here's the thing, as a person who's never played Bloodborne before, it can be a little confusing because when you look up Bloodborne Astral Tower on say Google or Pinterest, a lot of pictures of a very tower-looking building will show up, but that's a medical center. The Astral Tower actually has more of a flat top, whereas I guess the little medical area behind the Astral Tower has the pointy top. You think it'd be inverse, but then even like going back to some of their original sketches prior to making this game, the Astral Tower had a pointy top. So I do draw this sketch as a pointy top, but as we do the 3D modeling, you will notice us flatten out the top to be more game realistic, but by no means is this an exact one-for-one game replica. Yeah, I'm not doing all that detail, but we do a lot. That happens every video, guys. Why do I do that? We do a lot of detail, just not an exact one-to-one game replica because that would be very difficult. We're getting ready to build. It's a little bit later, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's so empty between those posters. It was actually bothering me. So before we start filming, I'm having Brandon put up this little neon sign. So if you notice aesthetic change, yeah, it was seriously bothering me. I did not want to record like that. There we go. See, that's cuter. That's cuter. I can do this now. Now that arguably the more boring half of this build is finished, we got the PC assembled and tested, everything is ready to go. Otherwise, I did install some fan covers, all of which are available on our website, and that new edition, the Clocktower fan cover, is also available there. Off camera, I made a background for the touchscreen and a background for the AIO little LCD screen, but you will see that at the end. What you're watching right now is a very sped up time lapse of just a portion of the work Brandon put into this 3D file. He really killed it. Obviously, we couldn't do every single detail on the Astral Tower as it's insanely detailed, but we did dial it back just a tiny bit for printing purposes, of course, and making sure the measurements fit the Y70 case well. As you can see, this print itself is going to be a bit top heavy, so to avoid it falling directly off the case, of course we're going to be utilizing magnets to hold it onto the case, as well as putting a counterweight towards the bottom of the print itself so it holds down onto the top of the case a little bit better reinforcing the magnets that'll hold it onto the case entirely. And to pull that big top piece into the rest of the case, we do pillars around the front screen and some cool faux brasswork style little decorations for each corner of the case. I honestly don't have a lot of footage of this printing. I was so busy with other builds at the time, but I do have a lot of footage of me painting it. And let me just say, as an artist, these chrome out markers come in clutch for so many just random projects you'd never think you would need to use them for, but it gives the most realistic looking metal texture. I absolutely love chrome mirror out markers. In entirety, the Astral Tower kit took about 3.5 days to print with how detailed it is and how many small pieces come along with it, and also a 1.5 days of hand painting. So before anybody asks, I'm gonna nip it in the butt now. We will absolutely be selling this Astral Tower kit, a more simplified version, on our website, zombietechgaming.com. I'll link it in the description, but it will come to you unpainted. And I know a lot of the Bloodborne community overlaps with the Dungeons and Dragons community. Just kind of view it as a kit that you have to paint yourself, because I cannot allocate a 1.5 days to painting each one of these kits as they go out. I'm just going to be selling the kit pre-printed, probably in black. I'll put the magnets and counterweight in for you, and you'll just have to paint it yourself. I'm sorry, I would love to offer to paint every single one, but that would not be the best use of my time, especially with other builds I have to be focusing on. In this scenario, the customer booked a custom build with us and brought this idea to us, so I am more than happy to be painting a very detailed version of this kit for them. But for people just buying the kit off of our site, I'm sorry, you're out of luck. This was actually a very fun kit to paint in my experience with this. All the shapes are very linear, and it's a very grungy look, so you don't have to be great at painting the small details. You can kind of just build them up as you go, and I love grungy paint jobs for exactly that reason. But yes, this kit will be available on zombietechgaming.com. I really do love doing video game inspired exterior pieces, and hope in the future that we get more builds of people coming to us wanting, specific buildings from specific video games. I find that style of build very fun. us in all of her glory and the Bloodborne computer. No, the computer's glorious too. Hi guys, it's the next morning. I have my morning coffee. I woke up maybe 30 minutes ago. My credentials, the makeup I wore last night, and the lashes I gave up on wearing last night. So I'm a bit crusty. Regardless, these are the nails of a working girl. I do my own gel nails, and as you guys can see, I broke a load-bearing nail during this process, so I do apologize for my crustiness. I do plan on taking a shower in just a little bit, but I needed to get the rest of this video filmed, and I was so exhausted last night. Not only that, moving to Washington, it's dark as fuck out here all the time. I don't know how I managed to forget that part of my childhood, but sunsets at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So lighting for YouTube videos recently, like I'm sure you guys saw in my last video where the lighting's like kind of dark throughout my house. It absolutely is. So last night, middle of the night, I'm tired as fuck trying to film this. The lighting looks like shit. I'm just gonna do it tomorrow, whatever. I'm sleeping in my makeup, and now that's woke up 30 minutes ago, drinking my morning coffee, trying to put together a stream of sentences that make sense. Things I learned about this build. I want to play Bloodborne. I don't have a PlayStation. Should I get a PlayStation on Facebook Marketplace and play it? Or should I emulate it on my PC? I don't know. Other thing I learned, I love me a grungy, dirty, worn, withered, low-key kind of steampunky paint job because you don't need fine motor skills for them. I am a girl who has constantly shaky hands, trying to hold my hand completely still, straining my muscles a little bit. I definitely should see a neurologist about this, but I don't got neurologist money. Grungy paint jobs, you don't need a super fine-tuned hand for it because you block down your colors like a Photoshop layer and build your colors up over time into the small details very last. As you guys know, at the end of October, I started my brand Zombie Tech Gaming. Pre-builds and customizing, that is my shit. I love to build computers and customize them fully. What I didn't realize is when we launched our PC building company, we had failed to check with Acuity, our scheduling website, and it left every single day aside aside from weekends, open to schedule. And I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple months ago when I released a video talking about this business, I said I only wanted to take on like 2 or 3 pre-builds in 1 month because of my chronic health issues, while like selling the customizations for my website, the cathedral kits and the fan covers. And so when we launched our website, that was like the last thing we failed to check off on our list, and we got like 15 schedules for pre-builds in 1 month. But since it's our first month of our business being live, and we saw the virality of the cathedral kits and how many people booked pre-builds within the first month, now we took the hit and we kept running because Brandon has not started a job outside of this. So both of us are technically, I mean, I'm self-employed, but we have all of our time to dedicate to this PC pre-building business. So we might as well take the hit and get all of these pre-builds done our first month, so we have loads of content to commercialize and get some reviews and actual opinions on the PCs we build, because we're such a new business that nobody had bought from us yet. Did not intend for the cathedral kits to go absolutely viral to the point of which we had to pause orders because at that point our 3D printer was going to be backed up an entire month of printing cathedral kits. But our business going as big, blowing up in all of our faces the first month when we really didn't anticipate. We anticipated like a gradual growth, not an absolute spotlight stardom first month of business. In a lot of ways, this has been the most stressful month of my entire life, and I moved across the country with 3 cats just 2 months ago. But that is never my customers' or clients' fault. That was my fault entirely for not checking with Acuity about how many people could schedule in 1 month, but I'm taking it, I'm rolling with it. A good business learns how to pivot. And every small business owner I have talked to has told me that the first year of being a business is all about tripping and falling on your face over and over and over and over again and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. But each time you trip and fall on your face, you are streamlining, you are getting stronger, and you are getting faster and making your business more stable. With this first month of 15 plus pre-builds plus another like 50 cathedral kits on top of it, while simultaneously making sure fan covers are still going out and mouse pads are still going out. That's why I'm so like eternally grateful for not only the opportunities that I have to build custom sick badass PCs from home as a job to self-sustain and keep a roof over my head, simultaneously managing my chronic illness from home, but also to have an audience that not only understands my chronic illness health struggles. You know, the majority of people reaching out for these pre-builds have told me their own story with chronic illness, and I find that so touching that there's so many of us. I said this with a couple of my meetings now, but people with chronic illness and people with disabilities have such a different relationship to video games, because for a lot of people, video games are the only way you can experience a life outside of your own. And for a lot of people with chronic illness or disabilities who are more homebound, it's a way to experience life outside of a home, but from the comfort of your home. It just goes so hand in hand. I'm just super grateful for the amount of support we've gotten with these builds and the patience we've gotten with these builds, because we are just a husband and a wife working out of a garage. I'm telling you, like, I'm saying I'm making just enough to put groceries on the table, keep my cats fed, and a roof over my head. That is the truth, and we are working out of a single family home. We don't have a ton of space to keep a bunch of stock on hand. That's why a lot of our stuff is made to order and takes longer. I'm trying to decide if I want to start beef with half of the 3D printing community right now. I'm on like half a cup of coffee and I just woke up like maybe 45 minutes ago. Do I do it? Do I potentially get myself canceled? Yeah, I do it. Okay. There's a lot of less respect for people who do 3D printing in art, and I can't completely blame them. People who are artists who do stuff by hand and side-eye people who 3D print, because people go to art shows and sell free STL file sensory slugs and dragons. And it's really given 3D printers a bad rep. And I can't even blame people who think that, because I can absolutely see how that's frustrating as an artist who hand makes items. I want to remind y'all that I started as an artist who hand makes items. I started as a sewing company. I have experience in that realm, and to see people fill up booths at Curiosities Expos and Oddities Expos and art expos and tattoo expos with free to download STL file, sensory slugs and dragons, and dice rollers. And I want to say this in the same breath, I do 3D printing, but our 3D printing is, I'm gonna get canceled. Our 3D printing is art. Brandon spent countless hours into this. I spent countless hours into painting this. We both spent countless hours into sketching this. There was a point in time where 3D printing was so freaking cool, especially for people doing resin figurines of people in video games that you were never gonna get from the original company. 3D printers are utilized by the right people. I think they can be done sickly, but when you're selling sensory slugs at art exhibits next to people who painstakingly painted a picture for 1,000 million bazillion hours, I need to stop on this conversation because I will get canceled. Sorry, I got off on a 3D printing tangent, but I do appreciate all the support and patience people have given us through this time period. Sorry, hiccup. As for this Bloodborne build, I need to play Bloodborne, like, immediately. Hopefully I'll be able to game a little bit more in the coming months, and Bloodborne seems really sick. Don't call me a poser for building a PC about a game I never played. It's not for me, but I do plan on playing it. Up next, Five Nights at Freddy's, and I'm not even joking. Stay tuned for that build. Our next build will be a Five Nights at Freddy's build. Little bit of a jump from Bloodborne to FNAF, but both in the horror series, and I'm really excited about it. I'm sorry for the tired tangents. You guys have had enough of me. I'm done talking. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more builds like this one. Up next, a Five Nights at Freddy's build. Bye-bye, Bloodborne PC. Say bye-bye, Bloodborne PC. Bye-bye. I don't know why I gave it an Elmo voice.